What's up, everybody? We are the Hypes Watch, and we're here doing something different today. It's our first ever review of The Flash. Of course, we are in season 3, and this is where we're going to have to start off because we can't go back in time like The Flash, obviously. But we got some things to talk about here with this first episode of season 3, and it's going to be interesting conversation because we have two people that haven't watched season 1 or season 2, and they're just coming in cold into season 3. But yeah, we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves, starting with Don Willie.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Don Willie. As always, glad to be here with my folks talking about The Flash, Season 3, Episode 1, and you already know the rest.
All right, Jerry, go ahead.
Hey everyone, it's Jerry the Targaryen Steamboat here, and yeah, I haven't watched the first 2 seasons, but watched this past episode, and I have a little bit of background on the Flash knowledge. I used to read some of the Justice League of America back when Grant Morrison and Jerry Conway and the Mathis were writing it. So see what I have to offer here.
And of course, Sir L.T. Giles.
What's up, everybody? Sir L.T. Giles here, and it's nice to be here to talk about comic books. Well, not comic books, but the show. And Flash, I've always liked Flash from back in the day, the original series. But, we're here. Let's talk.
And just, fill everybody in. Of course, this episode was entitled Flashpoint, though it had really nothing to do with the Flashpoint paradox that the title was based on. However, the crux of why the Flash went into the past and changed the moment, of course, that his mother got murdered, was essentially to change the course of history. He was feeling like he was, he wanted to right the past. He wanted to change the past. He wanted to erase his father's death that happened in the season 2 by the hands of Zoom. And he wanted to, of course, stop Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, from killing his mother, despite the fact that he was in a good place at the end of season 2. He was finally getting with, her name eludes me real quick. Joe West's daughter. What's her name? I forget her name. Someone.
Iris.
There we go. Iris. Yes, Iris. They were falling in love, but he still wanted to go back and change the time. And of course, you go back and change time, there's repercussions to be had. So to start this episode off, at the end of season 2, we did see him do the act where he changes history. And we see him in a setting where he's been the whole time, or in jitters, and we see that Iris doesn't know him. He's kind of been there for a while, but we see that Iris doesn't know who he is, but he's going to go hit on her anyways, because that's what the Flash does, what Barry Allen does. And just what do you guys think about, or Don Willie, what do you think about how they were going to go about this in the beginning of season 3, where, do you like the aspect of the whole change dynamic of what we've seen in the past?
Well, it was one of those things where I wasn't sure how they were going to do this because this is way different than the comic book. Obviously, they're missing a bunch of characters, and how they were going to have the repercussions in terms of the reverberation throughout the series, and plus also, since this is connected with Supergirl and Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow, like, is that going to reverberate through the rest of the series as well? So that's one of the concerns I had, just in terms of how they planned on doing this whole thing, and were they going to be able to make it a cohesive story?
Right. And of course, we did see here that the Flash in this universe, this alternate timeline, of course, is Wally West as Kid Flash, and he's embroiled in a battle with the rival. So just out of curiosity, the two guys that haven't seen the show, would you kind of think of how they've done the effects in the show in terms of showing the super speed and showing the fight between Kid Flash and the rival Jerry?
I really liked it. I liked, it had the little lightning, like the electricity thing going on. and then just showing that. Yeah, I thought that represented the Flash pretty much perfectly. I was surprised to see a CW show actually do good after I was disappointed with Arrow and how they represented their character. I thought this was a much better representation of the Flash character.
And I highly recommend watching the Flash square off against Zoom because they did a really good job there. But LT, what do you think?
Yeah, same as Jerry. I was really impressed with the scene where they're running over the building. But I have to say that villain's outfit looks ridiculous. It looks horrible. But I did like the running around the running around the building. I thought that was pretty cool.
Well,
and
I got to say something about that villain's outfit. I mean, if you read the comic and you see the rival's outfit, he looks like fucking Dark Helmet. So I got to say that this is an improvement.
Okay. Well, I didn't. One thing I thought was funny earlier, I don't remember if it was earlier or before, but when he was talking to Iris, oh yeah, I think it was before. When he's talking to Iris, right? He's like, oh, or she's like, I gotta go, and he's like, okay, and she barely walks away, and he just zoom, and he's gone, and it's like, wouldn't she have felt something or noticed it? Because at that point she didn't know he was Flash, but I thought that was kind of funny.
Oh yeah, she would have felt something and noticed it. I mean, the amount of energy it would take to move a human or something of mass at that speed would cause like a disruption amongst people around them.
Yeah, usually they portray it with a large gust of wind hits him in the face, but you know.
I mean, it would even be worse than that, but let's just say because comics, all right? Let's just keep it at that.
And that was also hilarious when he was trying to get the number and he kept on, messing up his words, and she was like, "You need to slow down talking." That was funny too.
Yeah, I personally have had my fill, enough of Barry trying to court Iris throughout this whole series, but that's just me. I don't know if Don Whitley feels the same way, but I'll let him chime in there.
I mean, listen, man, the man has to live out his destiny. He knows that he's supposed to be with Iris, so he's like, hey, no matter what the timeline is, I gotta make sure that this happens. And I mean, hey, he's a sucker for love. Everyone's been there, and he feels like this is his one and only. So it's like whatever he has to do to make it happen, whether that means he's got to speed up or slow down, that's what he's gonna do.
Well, right. I mean, Iris is his one and only. I mean, I've always any Flash that I've read, they've already been married, so this is kind of a new thing for me to see them like not already married in like a courtship.
Well, yeah. Barry Allen in the show Flash knows that he's going to marry Iris because Eobard Thawne had a newspaper from 2027 written by Iris West Allen. So he knows that he's going to marry her. She doesn't know that, but yeah, we know that it's going to happen eventually. We got some LT.
I was just gonna say, Joe West is Iris's father, right? That's the actor's name. I've always loved. Yeah. I've always loved Joe West from Law and Order. He was on an episode on the X-Files. I'm a big fan of Joe West, and
that's the character's name.
Okay. What's the actor's name? I can't.
I'm not sure what the actor's name, but I know.
I just think he's a good actor, and he was great on Law and Order.
He's definitely been good on the show. He's really good at evoking sympathy because I don't know, he cries a lot, but he cries a lot on the show.
Yeah. This character took me a few minutes to get adjusted to because in the comics, Wally isn't her brother; he's her nephew. So Wally's the nephew of both of them.
Right. Yeah, Wally is the brother in the show, and of course the Joe that we saw here, since you guys haven't watched season 1 and 2, is a lot different than the Joe that's been in season 1 and 2. He's a lot, in season 1 and 2, he's a lot more of a nurturing father. He's a great cop. He's not like an alcoholic. And, obviously that's sort of the Pandora's box that was open throughout this episode. We'll just go right into it. We saw the changes to Joe's character from competent cop to alcoholic, incompetent cop, always late. We see the transformation of Cisco Ramon, who's always been the quirky side character, great friends with Barry Allen, to kind of this rich douchebag. And then, of course, we what's her name? The doctor. what's her name? Don, I forget these characters'
I
names.
can't remember her name either, but you're talking about the chick that he kidnapped and brought her in the room, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Caitlin Snow. Caitlin Snow.
Yeah, Caitlin Snow, aka Killer Frost.
Yes, aka Killer Frost. Yeah, she of course, she really didn't have a role in this episode. Really, I mean, she was barely there. But yeah, we see how these characters differentiated based off of Barry Allen's actions from changing that moment in history. So, Don Woolley, what'd you think about, since you know these characters, how they were portrayed in this episode, and how they were? What'd you think of the differences of how they were portraying them?
I mean, I think the most interesting difference was probably Caitlin not being a scientist. Because even with the Flash not becoming the Flash, you would figure it shouldn't have like these huge reverberations where it messes with people's lives that far back to where it would change their career path. Wally was still a driver. Iris was still a reporter, but now you have two members of Team Flash who have two totally different trajectories, and also you have a missing member of Team Flash because now we don't have a Professor
Wells.
Yes.
Harrison Wells.
Yeah, we don't have Harrison Wells, and they never even talked about him. So I'm wondering whether or not he's going to even come back, because that would be kind of a shame. I actually like Tom Cavanaugh's performance as Dr. Wells.
Well, I think he's going to come back. You got to remember, Flash stops Eobard Thawne, and of course, Thawne goes and kills the original Wells and takes his appearance. So I'm guessing it has something to do with that. I know he's in the show because I saw him doing press for the season, so I'm assuming he's in the show.
Well, I got a question. So does Paco Ramon not have any superpowers in this?
He does. He's known as
Vibe.
Yeah, Vibe. Yes, he's Vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Paco.
Yeah, he's cool.
It's his name, Paco.
No, Cisco, man.
Well, he also call him Paco. What?
Okay, I mean, well,
Here
yeah.
he's just Cisco.
Well, you'll
Yes.
see. I was going to mention how. Okay, I was going to mention how. All right, so Paco doesn't remember. But when the Flash told him, I remember or I heard about how you worked and sold pizzas and paid off your brother's debt. And it like clicked in his head, and he was like, you could see that, he has a good heart, and even though he's rich, it clicked something inside him. And then, being rich, you see the woman he walked in with, if you're rich, you get those types of women.
That's why I want to ask you guys, because you guys haven't watched the rest of the seasons. How'd you guys think about these introduction of these characters who are nothing like the characters that they really are?
I mean, I didn't know what the original said about Paco, because in the comics I remember Paco was like a gang leader and he joined the Justice League. That's how I remember Paco. But then here he comes out like this billionaire. I'm like, what's going on here? So.
Well, in the show, he's much more. He's not a gang leader. He's actually like a nerd. He brings up all the pop culture references. He's quirky. He's funny. That's the way that they portrayed him on the show. But LT, what'd you think?
Well, you got to remember, I said I've seen a few episodes of the first season, so I remember him being, with the long hair and how his hair was down, and he was like his sidekick a little bit. It was though kind of crazy. Like I'm thinking, what's going on, and it was kind of weird, because I didn't recognize him at first with his hair back like that,
He kind of looked like Elio Garcia.
Yeah, huh?
So to me, it was interesting. I, of course, prefer the original characters. Cisco was a lot cooler when he's just Cisco. Caitlin, I thought that it was weird that she wasn't a scientist. Why would the Flash, why would this kid not, having his parents end up making her become whatever she was, a eye doctor or something? Yeah, I didn't get that. And of course, the omission of Harrison Wells, who is my personal favorite character from season 1 and season 2, the different iterations of Harrison Wells. To me, he's the most fascinating character. Was a little disappointing that he didn't make any sort of appearance in this episode. But yeah, so moving on from that. Oh, Don Will, did you notice that the captain was different? Did they recast him?
Yeah, I did notice that. I'm like, wasn't he a Hispanic guy before? Like, how does he, like, and maybe that's, one of the side effects in that particular world was that listen, dude, because I was sitting there like, wait, he's supposed to be a Hispanic guy, with a husband or something like that, and I don't know whether or not this guy was gay too, but it was just like, that's not the Mendez from the last 2 seasons. So, I mean, I don't know if this was like a one-time thing or, I mean, who knows? I mean, because now apparently, and I guess we'll talk more about this later, when Barry goes back, things are different in the regular timeline now too. So maybe this is a change that'll stick. I have no idea.
Well, I was thinking it was a cast change because they made it a point to say, Captain Mendez, like that was the first thing they said. So I thought it was a cast change, I guess, which is weird that you just completely change his race. But
they kept his Hispanic name.
Yeah, they kept his Hispanic name, but yeah, he was like a light-skinned Hispanic guy, and now he's, yeah, I don't get the change, but I like Captain Mendez. But yeah, it was an interesting change. So. Moving on, kind of my main gripe of this episode was kind of the acceleration of how they just kind of breezed through everything, and how it was like just so convenient, how like it just moves so quickly, like things happen. Oh, so it's so convenient that they believe him that he's from the past, and they believe that he's the old Flash, and like. Of course, we're going on to the scene where Wally West and where Kid Flash and the Rival are fighting on the building, and Flash uses powers to save him, or put him in the dumpster, save him. When he jumps in the dumpster, he goes and takes off his mask, and then he finds out he's Wally West. It was kind of convenient that Wally West was just like cool with it. Like he was like, oh, this guy knows who I am. I'm gonna take him to my my secret lair. I don't know how you guys felt about that. But yeah, we'll start with Jerry. Did you think that was kind of poor writing, I guess, or
no? Well, they explained it later when Iris was talking about, she felt it when he was there, that he was filling a void, and so I assume everyone else had that like maybe not as strong of a void, but they had a little bit of a void. And they just kind of felt it they must have felt it in their hearts that this guy's, legit. So I thought that scene kind of explained it all for me, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, yeah, I can see that. LT, what'd you think?
It was just kind of confusing, as watching it, not knowing what's going on, and yeah, like it seemed a little too easy. But then when they, like Jerry said, when they explained it, then you see,
Don Willie?
I mean, I kind of figured that, look, if the dude already knows who you are, there's got to be a reason behind it. So it's like, all right, if he was a villain of yours or someone who was trying to kill you, he could have killed you right in that dumpster. So I don't see any reason for him to keep secrets from him at that point. And maybe there was something that happened off screen that he explained to him about, how he knew he was the Flash or something. You know how we get those. Everything has a small continuity skip at some point. So I didn't really have a big issue with it.
And even the small issues like that. Even where it wasn't explained, it's explained with because comics.
Yeah, I feel like Iris definitely should have got some sort of like stalker vibes from him, because like he knew things about her. He was saying things like like this is like their first time they're actually talking with each other out in the street. He's like saying, oh, like he's like saying like, oh, you're essentially the one for me or something, something along those lines. And then like she shows up here at their secret lair. I don't know. I feel like she should have had some sort of like stalker vibes from him, but I guess it was all kind of explained. But moving on from that, let's talk about, of course, the showdown between the Flash, Kid Flash, and the Rival. What do you kind of think of this whole sequence? Of course, it involves Kid Flash getting pretty wounded.
Knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, a good fight scene. What do you think, Don Willie?
Okay, so they threw their plan right out the window because remember the whole plan in the beginning was, one of us is going to take him on direct and the other one is going to flank him. And, Kid Flash rolls up, starts throwing some punches, and is like, okay, Barry, why are you not flanking right now? Like you're just standing around like, oh well, he said he's got this. I mean, he's got his ass kicked the past 3 months by this guy, but I'm just I told him I was gonna help him, but I'm just gonna stand around here right now and just, do like how Sonic would do it in the old video games if you left him around for too long. Yeah, so that was just one of those things where I was like, okay, yeah. And then Flash kind of forgetting who he was, like in the middle of the fight, was kind of crazy. And yeah, I mean, look, it wasn't necessarily a bad sequence, but I think when you put in the preamble of we have a plan and this is the way that we're supposed to execute this plan, and then you totally do not do any of the plan that you just laid out, I do think that is a, small problem. Small problem.
To me, it kind of had like the kung fu movie syndrome where like, they all have to fight 1v1. Like, even though the fact that they could gang up on this one guy, it was kind of like that. I definitely get what you were saying there. I felt like you have two speedsters here against one. Why aren't you utilizing that advantage? But Jerry, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I thought Kid Flash got knocked the fuck out. That was the first thing. Like, he's obviously not up to the par. I hadn't really seen Flash like fight before, so I didn't really have any barometer to know his power. So when he was getting beat, I was just like, okay, he's getting beat. And then he's like, remember who you are, remember the things you can do. I'm like, well, I guess maybe he's even stronger. I don't know. I was just kind of like waiting and seeing. Like, that's really it.
Yeah, he wasn't fighting the way that he like fought Zoom. He can do the lightning bolts. He can do the the vibrations through he can do the phasing. He can do the mirroring, the mirror images. Like he's pretty powerful on the show, but he kind of was acting a little squirrely here. But yeah, LT, what do you think?
Yeah, Kid Flash reminded me of Anakin on Attack of the Clones when Obi-Wan's like, we'll do this together, and then Anakin just rushes in there. I thought the tornado thing was amazing, especially when Flash reversed it and he was like, it's impossible. I thought that was pretty badass. Good fight scene overall, though. I liked it.
I do got one problem on how it ended. I'm like, really? He got shot? He couldn't have dodged that bullet? Come on. The fucking Flash.
That was Joe West Ex Machina. I know a lot of people.
But that was from behind, right? Like he couldn't hear it coming, could he?
Yeah, he could have heard it.
Could have. He's a speedster, man. He definitely should have dodged that bullet. I agree with that.
I mean, well,
and not to mention he should have dodged it. He also they're supposed to have fast healing, so they're supposed to recover from it.
I mean, well, look, fast healing does not mean invulnerable. He shot him in the back. He could have possibly paralyzed him, or maybe I don't know. Maybe he shot him in the back of the head. Point is, yeah, I do get the fact that he should have been able to dodge the bullet, but hey, he was too busy focused on I must defeat my rival. You're not my rival. rival. So. Hey, he got caught out there. Look, that's what happens with villains most of the time. They're too busy focused on whatever their maniacal plan is to think about, the stuff that's happening around them, and that's how they wind up getting beat.
I mean, I just think it's the equivalent of a wrestling a distraction roll up.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the other important aspect of this episode. Of course, it is the imprisoned Eobard Thawne. Of course, this isn't my favorite iteration of Eobard Thawne. Mine is, well, spoiler alert, it is Harrison Wells as Eobard Thawne. I found it much more compelling when he was as Eobard Thawne in season 1 was Harrison Wells as Eobard Thawne. Of course, we have Kid Flash's rival in here in this episode. Of course, we have the Flash's quote-unquote rival in here as the Reverse Flash Eobard Thawne. It starts with him being imprisoned after he stops him from killing his mother. And, it was kind of weird how they said that it was kind of convenient that the Flash could suppress his power. But I guess he kind of used the same kind of technologies from Star Industries. They're kind of, well, we can talk about this in a future episode, but yeah, they're inhumane prison. I will say that their prison's pretty inhumane. But yeah, so he was able to suppress, his powers. Obviously he'd be able to phase out of the confinement otherwise. But yes, the interaction between Barry Allen and Eobard Thawne. I'm curious to hear the guys who haven't really met Eobard Thawne in the previous seasons. Jerry, what'd you think of the interaction between Barry Allen and Eobard Thawne?
Well, I mean, at first I was kind of distracted because I was trying to figure out who this is. I wasn't sure if it was Professor Zune or maybe Inertia, but I assumed it was Zune. But then I think he said that I thought he said that Zune got killed. I don't know. I got kind of confused, and then he was just like, "I can show you the way back." I'm like, "What the fuck do you know about the way back?" I had no idea really what was going on with this thing, and it was a little bit confusing for me. Like, is it Zune? Why did he say Zune died? Like, what's he talking about?
Well, he's the Reverse Flash. Zoom died. Zoom was the main bad guy of season 2.
Wait, is this Zune or is this not Zune?
It's not Zoom. This is Reverse Flash.
Well, they're all reverse. Like, there's a bunch of Reverse Flashes.
Okay, there's Professor. He's Professor. There's Zoom, Hunter Zolomon, Zoom. This is Eobard Thawne, who's also known as Professor Zoom and the Reverse Flash.
Okay.
But in the show, he's not known as Professor Zoom. But yes, this is this iteration, and it's more important because in season 1, of course, the relationship is much more strained because Eobard Thawne, that character, actually taught Barry how to use his powers. Like, he was his mentor who ended up backstabbing him at the end of season 1 because he needed the Flash to get faster so they could open up the temporal distortion so he can go back to his own time. But yeah, that was what was going on there. They have a long history, and I felt like, obviously I felt like to get the full emotional impact of their interaction, you needed to know their back history in the show-wise timeline. LT, what'd you think?
Now, if I'm not mistaken, when he brought the food, he said a man could go almost 3 weeks without food. How long was he in there?
3 months.
Okay, he was way too calm to be locked up like that for 3 months. He should have been a lot madder, He was way too calm. I would have been a lot madder and pissed off if I was in there for 3 months. Now, I was wondering, because I didn't see no thing for him to put in to slide the food in or something. Like, how do you plan on getting the food in there? Was he going to open it and throw it in there real quick and close it back or something?
I tell you what, this is something
he is the Flash. He can move that fast.
Well, this is something I've always thought about because, okay, in the previous seasons, they, of course, at Starlight Labs, kind of set up this whole prison in the pipeline where they're all in these cells where they can't use their powers, essentially. And the question I've always had is, one, how do they feed them without them, creating this breach where they can use their powers and get out? 2, how do they use the fucking bathroom because there's no toilets in their cells?
Yeah.
So they don't fucking get into it.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, in one of the comics, Lex Luthor has the same thing, and he has a bunch of heroes locked up in cells where they can't use their powers.
Well, they should at least put a toilet in there. That's all I gotta say. But yeah,
But you guys agree he was way too calm to be in there for 3 months? Way too calm. He didn't even seem that pissed. A little pissed, but not. He should have been a lot more madder.
Well, I mean, he was. Well, also you got to realize though, like, well, I guess not this Eobard-Thawne. I thought because the Eobard-Thawne from season 1, it's like 15 years after. He's been on Earth. He's been stranded in that timeline for 15 years, so he would have had the patience. But yeah, this one should have maybe been mad, but I don't think that was the only time he fed him. I'm sure he fed him multiple times throughout that time period he was there.
Could I ask a question? So I'm confused about why does he have to kill his mom to bring them back to the regular timeline?
Because go ahead, Jerry.
I was going to say the regular, at least in the Flashpoint paradox that I've read and seen, like the animated series or the animated movie, that's what happens. That's the normal line. If you change it, then you get hit. Yeah,
the beginning of the series starts with his mother getting killed by the Reverse Flash. So that's part of the original timeline.
And that's his origin to his parents. He's another one of those parents got killed, so he became like a forensic scientist. That's the origin of the Flash kind of thing.
Well, his mother got killed and his father got pinned for the murder. But yeah.
Oh, that's what happened here?
Yeah. His mother got killed and his father got pinned for the murder.
Oh, that's why he was locked up in the first season, right?
Yes.
Oh, could I mention? Oh, go ahead, James.
I was going to say, Don Willie, go ahead and get your 2 cents here on this.
Yeah, I was going to say, even in the original Flashpoint, that was the thing that happened where his mother got killed and his father got blamed for it, and he was trying to get him out. But yeah, it was interesting to see the changes that went on because of this whole kind of butterfly effect thing. But as I stated before, I don't understand how the butterfly effect would kind of reverberate backwards through time, because I don't think you should be able to change the past by changing the future. So I don't know. Well, we'll have to see how they work that out. And what they plan on doing and how they explain it. Because I'll be honest with you, this particular episode felt rushed. Like, I kind of felt like this is something that should have played out over like maybe 3 to 4 episodes, as opposed to it all being crammed into this one episode. But maybe they have bigger plans that they just haven't fully revealed to the general audience yet, and maybe it will make sense. But
so is this the end of the Flash of going into a paradox or another timeline? Are we not going to get Thomas Wayne? No Thomas Wayne?
Well, okay. Well, first off, we're not getting. I knew coming in that the Flashpoint paradox was going to be completely different, because there's no Aquaman, there's no Wonder Woman. It's going to be completely different.
But I mean, at least they could have done a Thomas Wayne Batman. That was bad. That was one of the coolest things about the Flashpoint paradox.
Yeah, they could have done that.
For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, in the Flashpoint paradox, when he changed it to save his mom, what ended up happening was Bruce Wayne was the one who was killed, and his parents survived. And then it was hinted that, it was shown that he teams up with Thomas Wayne, who is now Batman, and it was hinted that his mother became the Joker in that timeline.
Yeah, I love the Flashpoint paradox. It's one of it's my favorite Flash story. But yeah, I agree with you, Don Willie. I felt like they could have made this like a 5 to 6 episode arc or something. And
fuck that. They should have put in Jason Momoa, got the fucking Aquaman war going on there.
Oh yeah, they could have made it. They could have done the whole season, but they didn't do that. But I kind of think what they're going to do, Don Willie, is I feel like maybe they're going to keep doing like every episode. He's going to keep trying to go back in time to make it normal, the way it was before it happened. And I feel like every single time there's going to be something off, and that they're going to keep doing this over and over again. I think that's the route they're going to go.
It's going to be like Quantum Leap or the Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher.
It might be something like that. I feel like that might be the way they're going to go, because obviously at the end of this episode we'll talk about it. But we'll just let's wait till we get to that part. But yeah.
So I guess that means that the Flash does not watch Game of Thrones, and he does not know about what happens when you start messing with the timeline and creating paradoxes, huh?
Nope. Time paradoxes. I think the main villain of this season is going to essentially be time. Paradoxes that keep getting created. So yeah, let's talk about this. The other aspect of this show, and perhaps it's the most important because that's the reason why he went back in time in the first place. Was of course to save his mother and his father. Of course, his mother died in the first episode of the season of the whole series, and his father died in the second to last episode of season 2 by Zoom. He wanted to reverse all that, and he wanted his parents back. And of course, this leads to what I call the sapification of the Flash that happened, and it started happening in season 2. It got so bogged down in sort of this kind of emotional sappiness, but you know, it's whatever. I like seeing the Flash kick some ass, so I take what I can. But yeah, so what do you think about the interaction between the Flash and his parents, LT?
I was wondering, like, why he's still living with his parents. You know, I mean, how old is he supposed to be in this series?
He's like 25.
Yeah, you know, he should be on his own. You know, he's a forensic scientist, but I mean, you know, like I said, I'm catching this
Well,
late.
I would
And-
say though, LT, if
Damn it, LT hating right there.
well, I would say if you you know, obviously he hasn't been with his mother in 14 years. She died 14
Oh,
years
no,
ago. Yeah. So
That
he
makes sense.
yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I
finish
don't
your
know
thought.
why the producers aren't telling this little kid to get on the weights because Flash has got more mass on him. This kid is
I don't
skinny.
know.
It's-
Flash is always kind of a skinny guy.
Well, in the suit, he looks like he's ripped, man. Every time I've seen any comics or anything, he doesn't look small like this kid. And is this kid related to Andrew Garfield? Seriously, that's why I stopped watching the show. He looks like him. He talks like him. Are these guys related, or are they just?
They're not related. His name's Grant Gustin.
Yeah,
I actually think he does a pretty good portrayal of the Flash, personally.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Flash was always a skinny guy. Like if you compare him to like Batman and Superman, he's way skinny.
Oh, and in the suit, he looks buff.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
No, and that makes sense now thinking about it. That you know, his parents are gone and he gets to spend time with them. I mean, who wouldn't mind spending time with loved ones we lost if we could? You know, for 3 months. But I don't. I don't care if it's fiction or false. I don't believe in time travel. I think it's never going to happen. I mean, I guess this is a conversation for another time, but I just don't believe in time travel.
Just going back to the look of it, I'm just gonna say, if we can believe that Michael Keaton could play Batman, we should be able to believe this guy could play Flash. So,
well, what do you think about the interaction between the Barry Allen and his parents that happened throughout this whole episode, Jerry?
I mean, I'm wondering why he, like, on his parting ways, why he didn't tell him, like, hey, this is what happens, this is what's going on, this is why I was acting like he did. Yeah, I thought it was a nice moment. You know, he showed, you know, appreciation. He got you know, spent time with them. I think he should have told them in the end that he's from another world, and in that world, they're no longer living, and that's why. And he has to go back to being the hero in that world because that he needs to take responsibility and deal with the pain. I think he should have said something along the lines of that. I think that would have been way better than just him keeping quiet.
Right.
I think they missed a chance of having a nice little speech there.
Don Willie.
I mean, well, you know, just to piggyback off of what Jerry was saying, I mean, I'll be honest with you. We lost James.
We lost James, but keep going.
Go
extra long. Just no.
I'll be honest with you, Jerry. I'd have to disagree only because I think that it might have been a little bit too painful for him to actually tell his parents, "Hey, look, I watched the both of you die, and now I got to go back and change the past and watch the both of you die again." That, like, he's already going to have to live with it, you know, in his own mind. But I think it might have been a little bit too much for him to actually verbally tell his parents that that's what's going to happen to them.
Maybe, but you know what? When you're a fucking hero, you do fucking hero things. Like, you take the pain and you say, fuck you, because I'm going to save the world.
Mm. But I mean, look, I like the interaction with him and his parents. It was good to see him have a family. I mean, don't get me wrong, him having Joe and Iris as his family was cool, but hey, it's cool to see the hero with his own family and not always have the hero be a damn orphan. I mean, like, is that the thing? The only way you're able to become a hero is somebody's got to kill your parents, or one of your parents gets killed and the other one gets locked away or something like that, or whatever may have
There's
you.
definitely got to be some tragedy.
Yeah,
There's got to be something.
I don't get it.
Yeah. So yeah, of course, after Wally West's
I'm just saying, at least his dad didn't willingly get carried away in a tornado willingly. That's all. At least that didn't happen.
That did not happen. Yes, actually, if you go back and watch season 2, the end of season 2, I believe it was actually Kevin Smith's episode is the episode where Henry Allen dies. His death was actually pretty cool, pretty emotional. But yeah, so Wally West, of course, after his stabbing, is sitting there, not being able to recover, despite the fact that he has the Speed Force. He's having issues recovering. Barry Allen feels guilty. He tells everyone what's the deal. He needs to go, that they're in this alternate timeline, and that he knows what he needs to do. So he enlists the help of Eobard Thawne, releases him from his cell, and they go back and do their thing. And of course, the scene that me and Don Willie have seen like 40 times throughout the series. Of course, they've shown different iterations of Nora Allen dying. What'd you think about this whole scene, Don Willie?
Nora.
Being the one, having seen this so many times, what do you think about going back here and seeing her die for the 40th time?
Yeah, it was a little crazy because you're seeing this happen again, and it's like, all right, they showed when Barry comes and saves her this time, and then as they're both thinking that everything's okay, Eobard Thawne erases, and then he reappears, and then Barry erases, and then it's like, wow. I would hate to be Nora in that situation because it's like you're already having to deal with this craziness. You think it's cool, and then it's like, oh, nope, gotcha. Hold this knife to the heart. So, yeah, I mean, like, I'm kind of desensitized to it, but at the same point, it's still a little heartbreaking because it's like, damn, just when she had that glimmer of hope for like 2 seconds, just like she had that much hope and then gone. So yeah, hopefully they can put that part to rest and we don't have to keep on seeing that played over and over again.
My prediction is that's not going to be the last time we're going to see that, and we're going to see that again multiple times this season. And in fact, if you remember, one of my favorite scenes from season 1, after they dispatch Eobard Thawne, was when he was going to go back and save his mother. And of course, when he goes to that moment, the Flash, that a different Flash from a different time period, tells him not to interfere because that one knows that you can't fuck up the timeline. And I'm thinking that's going to get tied into this season. I think we're going to see that from this season, that this Barry Allen in season 3 is the one that told season 1 Barry Allen not to mess with the timeline. I don't know if you remember that, Don Willie, or if you agree with that. But yeah.
I mean, well, it seems very plausible because remember, when Barry actually goes back and tells, when he goes back and tells the rest of his crew about, hey, look, this is what happened and this is why I didn't change the past. Remember, he tells them that, oh yeah, I saw myself in the future, and he was like, oh, I saw, I had the white logo and the red in the costume was a little bit different. So I mean, it's very plausible.
I think that's gonna be the case. What did you think about that whole ending sequence, LT?
Yeah, it was. What I'm. Jerry, can you mute yourself? It's echoing. All right, thanks. I'm confused because, like, you know, obviously in the first episode she dies, but did they ever explain the motive why he killed her? Why he wanted to kill her?
Because he's a dick. Essentially, he wanted to. It's weird. It's because there's this whole paradox, right? Because that moment is responsible for starting the Flash, but he goes back because he hates the Flash in the first place, and he wants to inflict pain on the Flash. So it's this whole paradox where, he went back in time to stop something that essentially he created. So that's why this whole, it's fucking sci-fi,
Yeah. Well,
But do you have any other thoughts on that?
It just, to me, he's a coward killing a defensive woman like that, and I hope the Flash kills him someday.
Well, go watch season 1. that's all I'll say about that.
Okay, I don't care about spoilers, so he does kill him?
Okay, well, there's a character named Eddie Thawne who was his relative in this time, because he's from like 2300s.
Mm-hmm.
So when Eddie realizes that everything's about to get fucked, Eobard's about to kill the Flash, Eddie kills himself. He sacrifices himself, and it changes the whole line. It makes that whole line of Thawnes disappear, and it causes him to vanish. But he comes back because of this. You have to watch it. They have this whole explanation of.
Oh, so it's just confusing, huh?
Yeah, like mirror images and shit.
Okay.
I know there's another Thawne that's a reverse Flash as well. I think that's Inertia.
Yeah, comics. Hashtag comics. Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on that, LT?
No, just he's a coward killing dude's mom.
Yeah. Jerry, what'd you think about that whole ending sequence?
I mean, I thought they missed a golden opportunity to where he could have gone back, and instead of gone back to that, he could have gone back to like Mr. Freeze and seen Mr. Freeze be like, Nora, and then he would have been like saying, "What was that name? What was that name you said? Did you say Nora?" And then they would have became BFFs. I think that would have been the perfect way to do it. But they blew it. Oh well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see where it's going. We're talking about the whole ending, right? So the whole, apparently now Iris and her dad don't talk. Are we talking about that?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna get to that real quick.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, just going back, I mean, kind of reminded me of the comics. Blew the opportunity. The Nora, they should have done the Nora. That's all I'm going to say.
So yeah, of course, the ending here. It seems it's interesting because when Thawne drops him off there, essentially, and then he puts in a last minute jab there where he says, essentially, he tells him, "Is everything the same? Is everything going to be the same?" He essentially puts the last little, Thawne's a dick, and he puts the last little jab there, and everything seems to be the same. Barry walks in the room. It seems like the house is back to normal. Joe seems like he's back to normal. He hugs Wally because, of course, Wally was near death. Of course, this Wally in this time frame isn't Kid Flash. He's just Wally West. But yeah, and then he comes to find out, he's like, "Where's Iris?" And of course, Joe gets pissed off because apparently in this timeline, Iris and Joe aren't on talking terms. So there's definitely going to be more paradoxes happening here. And this is why I think that every episode is going to be like a new time paradox where they got to keep changing everything. But I don't know, maybe not. I hope not, because that'll definitely get repetitive for 26 episodes. So I hope they don't go that route. But yeah, so Jerry, what'd you think about the ending?
I thought it reminded me of the butterfly effect. I'm like, oh fuck, what is he gonna have to do now? He's gonna have to go changing things, or he's gonna be like Homer. Remember when he had that toaster that took him back into time, and he kept fucking things up? It's gonna be just like that, just like that.
Yeah. LT, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was crazy to see another paradox, Wally. And then I didn't know, like, what I'm confused about too, like, just to ask you guys is Joe mad about them dating in the real world, the original timeline?
Well, in the original timeline, they haven't really started dating yet.
Oh, really?
Okay.
They're not married?
No, they're not married in the original. They're married in the original timeline, but in the future.
Yeah.
But not yet.
So
That makes sense.
as far as season 3, they haven't even dated yet. They're just he still likes her.
Well, okay. At the end of season 2, she finally made her feelings for him apparent. He did it earlier. She said that she loves him and they want to get together, but he decides that he needs to fucking change his parents' deaths. That was how it ended in season 2. But yeah, but I think he would be cool with it because Joe tries to tell him that he needs to tell her feelings. So I think he'd be cool with it, despite the fact that they're really kind of like brother and sister in the show.
And then this villain that's talking to the dude who got shot in the original timeline, is that dude a speedster in this timeline?
That was the first time we've ever seen him.
Oh, okay. Well, and I couldn't make out what was written on the mirror. What was written on the mirror? His name or something? I can't remember.
Alchemy.
Yeah, okay, that's right. I thought I got it wrong because on my phone it's small. So what does that mean? Do you guys have any theories on that?
I mean, I know what alchemy means.
No, of course, but I mean, it's got to have some other kind of meaning. It's not magic, right?
Maybe it's the Philosopher's Stone. It's something. I don't know.
Yeah, in terms, there's no insider information that we have. This is the first time that we're in the same situation where this is the first time that we've seen this as well. Yeah,
I would hope it leads to the Philosopher's Stone, which would be pretty cool, because if anyone's read JLA, when Superman destroys the Philosopher's Stone, he fucks up everything in Darkseid and comes in, and I hope we see something. That'd be cool if we see some shit like that happen.
Well, whenever I think of alchemy, I think of the Philosopher's Stone, so maybe. But yeah, Don Willie, what do you think about the ending, and what do you think might come of it?
I thought the ending was cool, but I mean, is it me or did the dude to play that's going to be Alchemy in the next one? Was he the rival? Because he looks like the same dude.
It was.
Okay. Yes. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, and again, here we go again with the whole paradoxical nature of this whole thing, where he was the rival, and now he's going to be another dude named Alchemy. And what's going to happen when Barry finds out who he is? The whole thing with Iris and Joe, like, why don't they speak? Obviously, Barry's father is still dead because they did reference that. Yeah, I mean, and also are Barry and Iris together now? Because they got together at the end of season 2, but they might not even be together now because of whatever it is that Barry did. So this is going to be interesting just to see how it is that they're going to, how they're going to, parcel all this out and I guess make whatever changes to the timeline that they're going to make. And yeah, I hope it's not a season where literally every episode or every 2 episodes it's like, oh, I gotta go back and change this now. I gotta go back and change this. And gotta go back and change this. Like that would be annoying as hell to do for 23 weeks.
Right. So essentially, that was the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to ask, while we're gonna wrap this up, I want to ask the guys who haven't watched the seasons 1 and 2, would you give a rating to this episode? Whether you'll continue to watch The Flash this season, and if you will watch season 1 and season 2, I implore you to, because I feel like season 1 especially is just awesome. I implore you guys to watch those seasons. But yeah, Jerry, start off.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good especially for a CW show, because I tried watching Arrow and I didn't like it. That dude was not fucking the Green Arrow at all. I don't know what the fuck was going on there. I just didn't like that. This was much better representation of Flash. So yeah, I think I probably will keep on. I'll probably go back and start watching some of the previous episodes and see how that goes. As far as this episode, like I said, it was pretty good. I don't know. Maybe I'll give it I don't really have any way to, what do you call it, calibrate it. So I'll just stick with maybe a 6.5, a 7, something like that. It was good, nothing great. They missed the Nora opportunity, and then I think they should have ended this with they should have got Colonel Roy Campbell being like, Flash, you created a time paradox. When they discovered the thing about Joe and Iris. But yeah, other than that, it was good.
Well, I will say that the Green Arrow collaboration episodes in The Flash are the absolute worst. They're the worst in The Flash. And whenever they try to do the Legends of Tomorrow episodes too, they're just not as good. I don't know if Don will agree with me, but the Green Arrow tie-in episodes are definitely the absolute
They need
worst.
to get a new Oliver Queen, a real Oliver Queen.
But yeah, I mean, they're just because I just don't care about because whenever the Green Arrow gets involved, they like make it a soap opera, and I just don't give a shit because I never watched Arrow, and they're just the worst episodes. Bottom line.
The Green Arrow is a cool character too. They just kind of fucked up with Arrow.
Yeah, they made it a soap opera. But LT, what do you think? Are you going to continue to watch it? Are you going to maybe go back and watch the previous seasons? And
Before I get into that, I wanted to say that, and I missed my chance to say that. I should have said it. So when he first came in the room and had hugged Wally, and he said, "Where's Iris?" I thought for a second she was dead because he was like, "Is that a joke?" You know, and he
I
must
thought
have
that
been
too.
breathing.
I thought that too.
So yeah.
So did I.
No, of course. I told you guys before we started this that it's fun doing videos with you guys, and I thought I hated The Flash a lot more. Watching 2 episodes and then stop watching it. But watching this episode, yeah, man, I'm probably not gonna go back, and it's part of laziness because I have so much shit to watch, like Luke Cage and a bunch of other shit. I just don't want to invest my time on going back, but I don't mind watching this every week and doing this with you guys. But you never know, I might get bored. It's on Netflix, right? Season 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if season 2 is.
Okay. Well,
I think it just released actually.
Yeah, because watching on the CW app, watching those stupid Trump commercials is really frustrating. So Netflix will be a lot better. But no, I have to agree with Jerry. I'll give it a 6.57. I'm excited to see what happens in the future.
And Don, Willie, what'd you think?
Yeah, this was kind of one of those things where I was hoping it would be a much better episode, especially because I think season 2 ended off pretty strong. Season 1 ended off pretty strong, and the premieres for both of those were also pretty strong. And this one, not so much. It felt way too rushed. It felt like something that should have been spread out over multiple episodes, and it just seemed like they were like, all right, we want to do this and get it out of the way in the first week just so we can get it done and move on to whatever is next. So yeah, I'm gonna go with 6.5 out of this one. I thought it could have been a much better episode. I mean, it obviously was not Arrow because Arrow has become so freaking garbage that I can't watch it anymore. I can't. Hashtag I can't even. I
can't even.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna stick with The Flash. I mean, if you guys want to, do more of these, I'm down for it. But hopefully, this was just a hiccup, and this is not going to be the trajectory of the entire season.
Were you say something, Jerry?
Oh, I just whenever we sign off, I just have a response to Icy Spots.
Okay. First off, Ion Trone did say that he did confirm that The Flash season 2 was added on Netflix. It makes me wish I didn't spend $14 to rent the whole season, but it is what it is. But yeah, I like I said, I highly recommend going back and watching season 1 and season 2. It's an awesome show. A lot of great moments in season 1. A lot of goosebump moments. Really cool. But yeah, this episode, I give it a 6.5, like everyone else. Essentially, my issues with it, I felt like it was accelerated. I felt it was convenient to the plot, and I felt like they could have stretched this plot line out maybe 5 or 6 episodes. I'm not, you could tell in the previous seasons that there was, they like to set up a plot line that was going to be reoccurring throughout the whole season. I don't know what that is yet. I don't know if it's just going to be time paradoxes every episode. I hope that's not the case. But I'm going to be patient and wait and see. Like I was telling Don Willie, I asked him, I didn't watch the Arrow, but I said, wasn't season 3 of the Arrow crap? So I'm hoping the CW doesn't go down that route and they give us a good Flash season, because I personally like the show a lot, and I hope they just keep the momentum going. But yeah, so we're going to go with the sign-offs, and we'll start with Jerry so he could say something to Icy Spots, apparently.
Yeah, Icy Spots. I see you're asking if I would go back in time, if I would cease to exist if I killed my grandparents. Well, let's just get one thing straight. If I'm going to be killing anyone when I go back in time, it's going to be the Benioff and Weiss family. Those are the 2 families I'm killing, and that's the bottom line. And then, yeah. So Jerry the Targaryen Steamboat, and that's the bottom line. That's it.
That might be a little harsh, but LT, go ahead.
Before I sign off, I forgot to mention a funny scene, kind of funny but kind of cool at the same time. When and none of us talked about it. If we did, I forgot. When he went to Joe West's house and he fucking picked him up and took him to the police station, and then they're in the elevator, and Joe West doesn't even know what's going on. I thought that was pretty funny, man. That was funny and cool at the same time. But yeah, anybody, well, I don't know how many watchers we have, but I'm going to attempt maybe in the next few hours. I don't know. Depends on how long we chat right now, us and the guys. But I'm going to attempt my first live stream on my phone. And if you guys want to join me for that, that'd be cool. But yeah, LT out.
And I see Dorn, not only the whole show would cease to exist, all of it. I don't care. Carry on.
Don Willie.
Oh man, it feels good to be back. Listen, you guys already know where to find me if I'm not here. I know it's been like forever since I put out a video, but I am working on a video, and I know Jerry already hates the idea, but listen, man, I got to do what I got to do for me. So, be on the lookout sometime this week for the case for Dan and Dave, and also, I'm debating on doing Westworld episodes 1 and 2, but I will be doing a Luke Cage review at the end of the week, and I'll get back to regular business as usual. Anyway, you already know the deal. Rate, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends. James, take it away.
For first, I gotta say to Ion, yeah, someone eventually would, probably after it's done, so they wouldn't be fucking it up all the time. Wouldn't be fucking up. It'd be way better at worse. So take it away, James.
All right. My name is James Bichelle. I have my own channel, but I haven't been doing anything on it because I've just been, quite frankly, way too busy. Maybe someday I'll get back on and make videos. But that being said, on October 15th, it's going to be early Saturday morning, 2 a.m. Eastern. It is going to be late night with the Hypes Watch. We're going to be doing a late night reread. It's going to be on Samwell 5, A Feast for Crows. Hope that you guys will join us for that. I know it's at an awkward time, but if you can't make it live, at least watch it and give it a thumbs up anyway in the morning when you wake up. But yes, guys, we hope to maybe do this every week. Hopefully the Flash continues to be a solid show and we can do this every week. But until then, make sure you hit the like button, share it on social media, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, adios.